Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. More misery for the SNP. Good, I hear you say. But it seems that the Butte House Agreement is slowly whittling away. It's wearing out. The Greens are going for it. Come the next election, they are putting up candidates in many more seats. Seats that will pull some votes away from the SNP, because they too, of course, are a nationalist party. They're also a party for where the extremists can quite happily find a home. Now, if you can split the SNP vote, it gives everyone else a good chance of getting in. That's no bad thing. But of course, the more votes that the Greens get across the whole of the country for Holyrood, for example, the more seats they get at the next Holyrood elections. And if they can whittle a few seats off the SNP, then perhaps everybody could be happy. They'll never be in government, of course. I think it strengthens Labour's hand, but it goes to show that all is not well within that Green SNP alliance. And makes you wonder, will Humza split? Will Humza say, if you're going to do that, Butte House is dead? We want to hope so. Let's have a look, see what is going on. Here goes. So, huge general election blow for Humza Yousaf as the Scottish Greens to challenge the SNP in even more seats. Hopefully, as I say, splitting the vote, putting the pressure on. Will it be enough? Will Humza now see that wonderful, beautiful relationship that he has is slowly falling apart, like his marriage? Who knows? Lorna Slater and Patrick Harvey have piled on the misery for the Nationalist leader as they confirmed the party would field more than 22 candidates that they managed in 2019. And of course, if they can get as many more, who knows? It is only a place for the extremists to go, the mad ones to go. And if you can pull all those sort of weird people, the ones that have mental issues, the ones who think they're women when they're not and all that, you can pull all of them away from the SNP into the Greens, split that vote. The Tories will get in some seats, Labour will get in a lot more seats. Even the Dems may even pull a seat out or two out of the hat. It means the SNP are finished in Parliament, finished at Holyrood, finished everywhere. Oh dear, what a shame. How sad. Never mind. Now we'll have a look at this, but do please hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We're very, very close to hitting that 9,000 figure, and it would be absolutely fantastic if we can get that done this week. It's Wednesday already, but there's no reason why we can't get to 9,000 in the next few days. It's all down to you wonderful, beautiful people. Hit that button. Let's make this happen. Anyway, Humza Yousaf has been dealt a massive blow after his Scottish Government partners confirmed they would stand in more seats at the next general election. The SNP already faces a tough campaign when the country goes to the polls at some point this year, probably May, possibly October, the end of which they could lose a lot more seats than even they are prepared for. It could see the final destruction. They don't have that money coming in. They could be bankrupted. So let's show them the door in 24. Everybody has to tactically vote and get the SNP out and end the SNP. His task will be made harder, with the Scottish Greens aiming to put up candidates in more than the 22 constituencies that they did in 2019. And the move could split the Skexit vote, with tactical voting likely to be crucial as Scots look to boot out the nationalist politicians and get rid of this vile cancer that has destroyed Scotland for the last 17 years. The Greens barely registered in the UK-wide votes, but with dozens of seats to be tightly contested, their presence could prove all the difference if they stand in more seats. And it is a prospect that has already got some SNP figures running scared, with one councillor in Moray voicing their fears. And even SNP grandee Pete Wishart has previously worried for his job when it looked like the Greens could stand in his Perthshire seat. But that hasn't put off the Scottish Green co-leaders, Patrick Harvey and Lorna Slater. I was trying to find a better way of putting that, but I couldn't. I was going to be very rude, but I won't. Let's just say Geoffrey and the Imp. We'll keep it there. Keep it sweet. Ms. Slater said, "We are a growing party." Yes, but you're only attracting the mad, the bad and the extreme. You're not a party for the people. You're actually against the people. She said, "We're very successful in every election we go into." You haven't won a single constituency. How is that successful? It says we aim to stand more candidates than ever before in more seats than ever before. And that's a good thing, I think, because it means that you will get fewer SNP politicians at the end of it. And so they are actually doing a great service. They're not going to win a single constituency. They'll pull a few votes away from the SNP. That will weaken them, give them fewer seats, less money. Marvellous. She said the exact number of candidates will be decided at a branch level rather than by the party's head office. There's a hell of a problem between head office and branches. The branches don't actually like the direction of the leadership. We've had stories before that there's a lot of infighting in the Greens. So I wouldn't bear that, too much control from the leadership over the grassroots level. They kind of dislike each other to some extent. Anyway, on where the party's focus will be, Ms Slater said, rather than trying to pick a particular seat or something like that, we need to make sure we have as much as possible and in as many places as possible. A Green in the room who's going to make sure that Green values, the climate, social justice, sexualisation of children, harm to women, disruption of society, the breakup of the economy, the destruction of all industry, misery, poverty, and a burning wasteland of destruction are brought to the fore. And we can highlight all those things, of course, because that's who they are. She said, what we've found in other elections is unless there is a Green at the table, nobody mentions climate change. That's because nobody cares. And it's because you could close the whole of Scotland down and it would make zero difference. Very few people mention equalities matters. That's because equality's there. Everybody's equal. There is no inequality. The only thing that you're pushing as a party is the right for grown men to expose themselves in front of children in changing rooms. And I don't think that's a good look. Despite the move, Miss Slater said she did not expect it to impact on the Butte House Agreement. That's because it doesn't really exist. That Butte House Agreement is dead in the water. You're just in there now for the power. It doesn't matter what the SNP do. You're not going to walk. We've already shown that by the fact that you haven't walked over every single thing that's been broken. Nicola Sturgeon struck that deal in 2021, a move that allowed Miss Harvey and Slater to become government ministers. Yousaf has stuck by it despite criticism from within his own party, particularly backbenchers who are looking at the Greens now and seeing the utter disruption, destruction and damage that they are doing to their chances of being re-elected. And indeed, the Greens are like a cancer on the SNP to the same extent that the SNP is a cancer on Scotland. And they're calling, a lot of them now are calling for the Butte House Agreement to be ditched and for these very weird people to be thrown back to the backbenches where they can sit in silence and seethe and stamp, in Patrick Harvey's case, his tiny, tiny little feet. Ms Slater said, we are different political parties with different priorities and the general election is our chance to set that out to the people of Scotland and then they will reject it because they're not stupid. It says, yes, we're going to stand against each other. Yes, we disagree on these terms, but none of that changes the fact we care very much about child poverty. Well, you should do. You've caused a lot of it. We care about creating green jobs. No, you're the one who closed down DRS. We're about making energy transition. Nope, you're the ones who want to destroy the energy sector, which is the one thing that could afford to do the transition. Without that, you can't afford it. We care about investing in the future of Scotland. No, you're looking to destroy Scotland's economy and stop growth. All of those things are just a big bag of complete bollocks, isn't it? But then she's a big bag of complete bollocks, isn't it? The whole party. It really is a bag of bollocks. The Greens' best result in the general election was 1.3% in 2015. In 2019, they won just 1% of the vote, albeit without contesting every seat. That's because they can't even field enough what's the word when you sit there? Candidates, for heaven's sake. You'd think it's halfway through the week, isn't it? My brain's going. Anyway, the party has never won a constituency vote in a UK or Scottish election, despite being part of the Scottish government. And in the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election last year, they won just 2% of the vote. Mr Harvey also backed Labour to win the general election, saying there was a chance for a more functional relationship between Holyrood and Westminster. So he's saying if Labour win, he'd prefer Labour to win. He's in a partnership with the SNP and saying he hopes Labour wins. I tell you, it's a very, very odd partnership they're in, isn't it? Anyway, let's finish there, round off and come up, and we will just carry on laughing at these fools and who think that they're going to do anything come the next election. They'll be out. What a shame. Coming up. It is wonderful to watch them in action, isn't it? It's like watching animals in the wild, isn't it? You imagine David Attenborough, and here we have, Lorna Slater ruffling through the undergrowth, foraging for votes. And there's Harvey presenting. He's on his heat, and he's looking for, a bit of love, And here comes Ross Greer. He's ready, proud, erect, and they're mating, and they're just those quick 2 seconds, and it's done. And that's basically what you can imagine, isn't it? That's all they are. And then Ross Greer goes off all happy. Mummy said I'd have it one day. And, what do you expect? These people, you vote them in, and they're all weird. They're all weird people. Mental. Weird. They hold views that are diametrically opposed to normalcy, to decency. They are degenerate. You only have to look at Maggot Chapman to see how degenerate the party is. And they want people to vote for them? Well, anyone who votes for Greens in Scotland, you've got to look at them very suspiciously and guard your kids from them. Anyway, I shall stop there. Round off. We're finished. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button. Ring that bell. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Please share the video. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.